But I want to tell you a little bit of a story about UDC, and then we can sort of transition to a discussion on what's happening in the city, and maybe how, how all of you can make a contribution, and how I might be able to help. So I'm going to rely on my slide clicker helper to get through my slides here.
Yep.
The next one. Back one.
Back one?
Back one. Perfect. Okay, so my role at UDC is to advance sustainability education. It's a very broad mission. So I do everything from working with our facility staff on energy and water and waste initiatives, to developing programming for our students, faculty, and our staff, to working with faculty on integrating sustainability ideas and lessons into the curriculum. And then I also teach a course called Urban Sustainability, where I basically use Washington, D.C. as a case study throughout the semester, and we look at all these different issues that you're probably very familiar with. Things like transportation systems, stormwater runoff, air quality issues, health, jobs, economic development. It's a very broad look at sustainability. So those are the things that I'm interested in. But really my aim is to help produce a better quality of life. Part of that is the environment, sure, but it's also got to do with social equity and social justice, and also has to do with the economy. So like I said, very broad focus, but I want to sort of offer a quote to start, which is from one of my favorite authors, Daniel Quinn. If you ever have a chance to read Daniel Quinn, or if you've read him, you probably appreciate the things he has to say. But this is sort of the approach that I take. It's not about injecting new programs. It's about changing people's minds and adopting a new vision. We need an entirely new vision to get the kind of change that we need right now, speaking from a sustainability perspective, at least in my opinion. So it's not just about nibbling around the edges, it's taking a deep dive into how different institutions and organizations and people act and behave, and addressing their beliefs, addressing their mission, addressing their purpose to make change. The next slide. So that said, UDC's vision is to become a model, both in terms of our campus operations and also in educational offerings. And we have sort of three main areas of focus: academics and research, the outreach, and also our facilities and operations. And then we sort of have these different themes to connect them. Next, please. So when I came in, it was sort of a sad story at UDC, and in some respects it still is. But this is sort of where we started. Our buildings needed $300 million worth of work to bring them up to acceptable standard. We've done a little bit of work, but that number is still pretty big. The last time we had major construction on the campus was over 40 years ago. So it's not really like a place that's evolving rapidly in terms of the built environment. But we haven't been able to take care of the existing built environment. We have a lot of hot and cold issues in our offices. It was 9 degrees last March in my friend Susan's office, my colleague Susan's office. And then regarding that video that you saw about stormwater runoff and creating impervious surfaces, over 90% of the campus is impervious surface. We have a huge challenge. Rachel knows a lot about that because she's a water expert. She's been studying at UDC. Went through the master's program there on water resource management. We've had a hard time raising our recycling rate. When I first benchmarked the recycling rate on campus, it was 13%. Does anyone know what the average is for the city, the citywide diversion rate in DC? It's right around 30–35%. So we weren't even half that, which is not very impressive. And then we've never actually done any recording or management or tracking of the energy or water consumption on campus. It's pretty bad. But that meant there was a lot of opportunity. So go ahead, next slide. This is really hard to see, but this sign says Rose Garden. And these are a bunch of weeds.
Really?
This is August 2010 when I first started at UDC. And like I said, when you're starting with very little, you've got very little to lose, right? So this is just opportunity. It's just fertile ground waiting to be planted on, right? So next slide, please. A little hard to see again, but that's one of our grad students, Bobby Bell, who has a rototiller. Went out in the garden, started doing some work. Right after that, we saw the chartering of a brand new garden club on campus, and this space steadily transformed into something green. Next slide, please. You can kind of see the pictures here, but we eventually got a little bit of produce coming off that plot of land. But more importantly, people were doing work. They were getting dirty. They were using their hands. They were outside. It became a rallying point for the community, and a place where we all kind of learned and worked together. Next slide. We even have students from the UDC Child Care Center, our lab school on campus, who come out and done lessons out in the garden, which is really exciting. And folks from the Garden Club, as well as on the left, Sandy Farber, our Master Gardener Coordinator, who's been out helping do education in the garden. So like I said, we've turned this space into this barren emptiness into something that's meaningful, something that's sort of an anchor point for the campus community. We even have neighbors that come on from off campus and volunteer with no affiliation with the university, but we've had an outpouring of support, so it's really exciting. Next slide, please. A couple of interesting things we've done. One of the approaches I take, and it's not always received very well, but I like to disrupt things. I like to ask people questions that they don't really feel comfortable asking at first. You hold their hand and you walk them through it, and you have a discussion about why change needs to happen. When I first came to campus, I learned that we printed our course guide, full list of all the courses we offered for every semester. It's 3 times a year, fall, spring, and summer. We sent to every single household in the district. 35 million sheets of paper.
Wow.
Okay? And I'm willing to bet the vast majority of people didn't even open the thing. It's sad. It's blanket marketing, right? It's not very effective. It's not targeted. So we decided to use the internet, put this thing online, and then start sending people postcards and saying, hey, there's the new course guide's available. Take a look. It's online. But the fact that I love to use is it would that was enough paper to cover Washington Monument 411 times every week. So much paper we use. Next slide, please. Another thing we did is I bought one of these. It's a $20 piece of equipment called Kilowatt EZ. You can stick it into a plug, and you plug in an appliance into it, and it tells you what the watt usage is at that moment. You can use that to calculate the amount of kilowatt hours that appliance is consuming on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So we took this around and went to all the vending machines on campus. We wanted to know how much electricity we were using in the vending machines. Well, it turns out that the amount of electricity we were using, the money we spent on that electricity, was more than the money that we got from our share of the sales of the stuff coming out of the vending machines. We have a partnership with a third-party company that comes in and puts their vending machine on campus. So we lease them a little space, a little corner of the university. They take most of the profit, and they give us a little bit back. So the money that they were giving back to us wasn't actually enough to make up for the electricity that the machines were using. Doesn't make a lot of sense, right? This actually led into another discussion where we talked about the value of vending on campus. Is this actually a service to our students? What are we providing to our students in vending machines? It's junk food, it's candy, it's soda. It doesn't really have any nutritional value, so is it